Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate live and after show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who support me on Patreon, as we are lacking a pre-show today, as I've had a lot of technical issues, so for that reason I'm going to do the shout-outs for the Patreons that normally go out on the pre-show right now. So massive shout-out to Abraham Muhammad, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin', Henrik 86, Jeranism, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Nagara, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Rene, Sally Ballas, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, The Flat Earth Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock App, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker and Tom Herkins. So a massive shout out to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are actually on to the second live show of the day, so we have a full panel of both Discord and G Plus members. So a very warm welcome to Adam Meakin, Righteous Force, Paul Hall, Chocolate Zane, Arwin, I believe 10th Man and Anon Moto. Very good to have you all.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yo.
Hello. As I say, we've also got a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all in the Discord server.
Hello.
Hey, Arwin.
Not in the Discord server, but still here, back.
Hey, from Discord. Hey.
Hey. Good to know it's at least working. Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any signs of Earth curvature?
None whatsoever.
There was none in Italy.
The ground may shake sometimes, but there is no singular constant motion of any kind.
I haven't got there yet. That was Earth curve. I think you're a bit ahead of time. You're having time dilation problems with pseudo-Ramonian force-based bending.
Me?
Yeah. Any signs of axial rotation, Arwin, of the Earth-based variety?
No, stationary. There's no motion, no constant motion of any kind on this Earth.
So I want to get this clear
Of the whole Earth.
for a few chat trolls and maybe a few viewers who may be unfamiliar. So in the last few weeks or months, perhaps, we've been at length dissecting the Coriolis effect and figuring out how the nonsense assertions that come from the globe side of the argument are formulated. We've reached the point now where we are essentially saying no more. We will no longer tolerate assertions that start with the begging the question fallacy that is a rotating Earth. So we will no longer entertain the formal logical fallacy. If Earth is rotating, we will see Coriolis effect in a bullet or ball. We see Coriolis effect in a bullet or ball, therefore Earth is rotating. In other words, the doors have been closed on begging the question for that particular aspect of this argument. It's like Earth curve 18 months, 2 years ago. Yeah, we begged the question for a very long period of time and eventually reached the point where we understood the ins and outs of how a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator worked to fool you into believing that perspective, the effects thereof, are actually Earth curve. And then we closed the door with the final allowance for the begging the question of an Earth curve with an R value being given to the rumpus in the form of him producing a begging the question model and horrendous amounts of refraction to bring the north end of the Isle of Man back into view from the belly of the photographer known as Sleeping Warrior at the beach at St. Bees. And he didn't do it. You know,
Super
18 months.
mega looming.
Super mega looming, right on. Well, you know, asserting 7/6R or increasing terrestrial refraction to whatever begging the question is fallacy requirements are needed is just not tolerated anymore. Hence, you no longer see Earth curve calculations on the screen from guests because they know better. We'll just jump all over it. Well, the same's going to start happening for Coriolis effect claims. You know, I think his name's Daniel, a chat troll, and he was in Sleeping Warrior's chat feed asking me about why this, that, and the other Coriolis effect happens. And it's like, you don't seem to get it, chat trolls. No, we're no longer going to allow you to beg the question or even ask us to explain away something you claim works when you affirm the consequent and assume Earth spinning in some example or some great claim that you've got. No, that doesn't happen anymore. We understand how the Coriolis argument works. I was so proud of Sleeping Warrior. It sounds tacky, but I don't care. I was so chuffed. I was listening to him concisely point out exactly that on his stream. He's like, nah, prove it spins first. Now, in days gone by when Sleeping Warrior said that, he's confessed to me behind the scenes, well, I don't fully get it. I don't totally understand how they formulate their nonsense. Now he does, to the point where he can concisely point out exactly why we won't beg the question, and give a few examples within Coriolis effect, and assert where they change reference frames. He can do the full shebango. So it's... Go on.
Nathan, sorry, I just noticed that you got the chat from the previous hangout.
Oh, yeah, thank
still
you,
in
Arwen.
there.
I'm a bit lax at the moment because of all the technical issues I had. I'd normally be on top of that. Thank you very much.
And I would like to say something too regarding what Erwin said, is that even in their own model, there is no constant speed because you can't. I mean, the way we rotate or supposedly rotate, the orbital velocity, there is no constant speed even in their own model. So really, you can't even say constant speed because there is none.
Well, that got a lot of tumbleweeds, Paul.
Thinking it might stir up a Glober from the Discord might come in and disprove me wrong.
As long as they don't start their example with, if the Earth is spinning, I don't care. We
Gotta
won't
pull
get
your punches back a bit.
Say again, Righteous.
I said he's got to pull his punches back a bit, bait them a bit better.
I mean, no
Did
doubt.
that come through?
Yeah, it did, yeah. We'll end up circle jerking back to these subjects. You know, gravity's been through the circle jerk mill 2 or 3 times. So, you know, Coriolis will be alive in the rhetoric as long as heliocentric model is alive. So people will still come back and assert it. But for the regulars who come here and say, I want to entertain an argument where we assume Earth spins and have this deviation that... No, that's not going to happen anymore. Sod that. I'm sick of it. Everyone else was telling me how sick of it they were.
It's at a point where they can't find... It's at a point where they can't find the citations either. I asked Zanuck for a citation for Coriolis, and he's like, he said something along the lines of, I've got your citation. And he said, Zanuck, 2019.
Yeah, the guys in the trenches can't argue it anymore because they have to defy Coriolis effect and argue why we don't see it. And the upper echelons of the globe deceivers, the Neil deGrasse Tysons, give us arguments that help us when they're asserting that... I'm going to talk about Paul Voigt in a minute. So, in Sleeping Warriors chat, we had Paul Voigt asserting that you only get Coriolis deviation from the frame of reference that is space. So, for about 25 minutes solid, I'm swearing and abusing him because, Neil deGrasse Tyson's assertion that the ball's deviating is because the ball's gone to space? You know, what an absolute crock of crap. People like Neil deGrasse Tyson assert the rhetoric as it is, i.e. Earth is supposed to be a separate, non-inertial spinning reference frame. Problem being that then the flights would have Earth rotating underneath them. But that doesn't happen. And we're here to point that Coriolis effect contradiction out. It'll cost people their jobs, like Brian Mullen when they point it out as concisely as I've just done. And they're told, no, you don't understand conservation of momentum. In other words, you get the people in the trenches who want to argue why we don't see that deviation when calling it Coriolis effect, and confuse the hell out of the audience. George Netanyahu being held over exactly that barrel by Nathan Thompson today. Absolutely epic. The guy's a moron. He doesn't understand reference frames. He's arguing against Coriolis effect, telling him that you've only got one reference frame with the Earth and atmosphere spinning as one. And Nathan Thompson took him to town. No, George, that wouldn't give you Coriolis, you senile old bastard. Paraphrasing. I could hear it in his tone, though. Nathan Thompson was telling him what's what. George Netanyahu's senile and stupid and doesn't understand Coriolis effect. He thinks that Earth and atmosphere travelling as one is two reference frames. No, senile old bastard. That's not what gives you Coriolis effect. You just have to argue that because we don't see any Coriolis effect on Earth. Planes don't deviate. You don't have reduced flight times with Earth rotating underneath helicopters and drones and aeroplanes. And that's what you have to fight against here, don't you? And cost people their jobs and threaten their careers by chasing out their suppliers of their licenses. Should they ever assert that we should see Coriolis effect, as it's asserted by people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, when he says a ball is claimed to be deviating because the claim of Earth rotating underneath is in effect. Something that these fundies here in the trenches have to fight against. And disavow Neil deGrasse Tyson with his very concise summary of what a Coriolis effect would be if we had one. Earth rotating underneath a football, or a plane, or a drone, or any aircraft, or anything with any lengthened hang time, all the things that don't show you any deviation whatsoever. But the bullet in the air for about 2 seconds, or the ball in the air for about 3 seconds, yeah, we'll assert it for those things, until a flat earther comes along and says, well, if it's rotating underneath a ball and a bullet, it's also rotating underneath a drone. But it doesn't. And a drone would definitely show it. It's in the air for ages. And that's just a big problem for people like George Netanyahu, because it obviously craps in the face of the idea that Earth's spinning, because it's a blatant demonstration that it isn't. So have someone's license. Get in touch with the supplier. See if they've had any complaints put in against them. That's what people like George Netanyahu will do, currently sat at FEIC. Yeah, sat in the bar having a few drinks, safe in the knowledge that he's attacking people's career based on his total misapprehensions about what we'd have, and flying in the face of assertions by priest like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who makes it very plain Earth's supposed to be rotating underneath things like footballs, not rotating atmospheres, George, you senile old dick. So no, totally unjustified in his attacks on people's career and questioning their integrity, because he didn't understand how Coriolis should work. Should listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson, he makes it very simple. We all understand how Coriolis works. George Netanyahu, on the other hand, doesn't and thinks he should attack other men's careers based on his total misunderstandings. Pathetic. That's what we have to deal with here. Sad saps like that old twat. Going after men's jobs.
Can we, I was just going to say, can we give the person that you're talking about a shout out for the listeners so they can go watch his video, his series, Balls Out Physics. That's Brian Mullen. Anyone listening?
Yeah, concisely summarises this. I think it's Balls Out Physics number 2. So Balls Out Physics 2, I believe, is the Coriolis effect. And he just describes it like we describe it. If Earth's rotating underneath an aeroplane, the flight time would be reduced. It's just that simple.
Someone should go after Neil deGrasse Tyson's job. He's got Coriolis running, calling to the ballers.
Yeah, why isn't George going after Neil deGrasse Tyson's career?
What, his acting career?
I love how the ballers are mad because we retired that argument. they're still crying to talk about reference frames.
What kind of career is there to go after with Neil deGrasse Tyson? What, his acting career?
He's an
his career as a
astrophysicist.
pseudoscientist?
No, he's an astrophysicist,
What?
is he not?
Yeah, so it's a pseudoscientist. He's just doing what he's being told to do. Just
The
like
truth
being an actor as
jeopardizes
well.
his career, not any assertions we need. We don't need to go after his job. The rhetoric he's punting is the correct pseudoscience for that religion of heliocentrism. The fact that people in the trenches find it very troubling because we haven't got an Earth rotating underneath aeroplanes is not our problem. But it's a very big problem for people like George because it contradicts his religious belief. Therefore it needs attacking quick sharp. People like that need shutting up. People like that being Brian Mullen, who points out that if Earth's rotating underneath a football, as asserted by Neil deGrasse Tyson, correctly and in line with the heliocentric religion, then it would also rotate underneath a plane and you'd have shortened durations of flight time, which we don't have. We don't see drones leaving a claimed to be non-inertial spinning reference frame of an Earth and the Earth rotating underneath the drone. That does not happen because Earth is not rotating. Very troubling if you're a fundamentalist religious zealot who believes your world is a spinning sphere in a space vacuum. Yeah, then it's very troubling because you've got no proof of it spinning. The claim proof is Coriolis effect. But they'll come here and argue angular retention of the velocity that's being kept as it leaves the frame of reference. Well, that doesn't give you Coriolis effect. But that's what they argue here. Now we say no. The only reason we'd be talking about reference frames is if we had an Earth that rotates. Well, your argument will start with that. Earth's rotating, therefore this effect. So you start with the begging the question fallacy that is an Earth that rotates, and then start making claims that require reference frames to detail them. And we're not going to do it anymore. Tough luck. Earth's not spinning. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Whoa, housekeeping.
Even Newton wanted nothing to do with it.
Well, he would have something to do with it, but he wouldn't claim a scientific hypothesis concerning it.
Shout out to Cleary, says George has got a lot of balls to show up there. Well, he's been held to task already by Nathan Thompson, who absolutely held him to task by saying, no, George, if you've got Earth and atmosphere rotating as one, you don't have the claim proof of Earth spinning that would be Coriolis. But that's what you're arguing, because we don't see the effects of Coriolis. Earth isn't spinning. Very troubling for a fundy religious zealot. Thanks for the super chat, Cleary. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope. There's no evidence, as far as I'm concerned, scientific or otherwise, that the sun is in a literal position.
Any evidence of any valid hypothesis in the entire history of the fields of cosmology, astronomy, or astrophysics? Don't all go at once. Are you familiar with that question, Adam?
Sorry, dude. I was just mucking about on them with work there. It is one, since it's been introduced. I keep thinking, there must be some Weasley one that I can get out just for that. But no, currently I am not familiar with any.
No viable hypotheses from you?
Have none. Not from those fields, anyway.
Fair enough.
Well, maybe as a side project on something other than astronomy. But
leaps of logic.
Within astronomy? No. Nah.
No, we'll have no leaps of logic. We'll have viable hypotheses, please.
Not a scientific one.
Guesswork?
No, sorry.
How about
seat of our pants?
No, seat of our pants, no. Can you leave those pants or what? Seat of the pants you don't leave, chocolate.
Yep, because I could change my pants and not leave my pants. It's awesome.
Any evidence?
Chocolate? Would it? Well, sorry, Nate. I was just going to ask Chocolate. Would it not be all right to just work at the not really is level?
No, we are definitely here on Flat Earth Debate only, exclusively working at the really is level.
No, then.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure? Go on.
I was just going to say, this is what the Globe are going to say. It depends on what you mean is.
Let's get right down to the semantics of is, yeah?
So when we look it up in the new reformed Baller dictionary, will it say, okay, is can mean is, but it can also mean not is. So Is that what we're going to find there?
Yeah, what you're describing is essentially summed up beautifully in 1984 when they describe what doublespeak is. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon.
No.
Nope. Twas my favourite thing whilst doing the street activism, that one, Nathan. Getting a balloon. And then also pointing to the sky as well. You know, when you're out there in the beautiful skies, it saying, look up there. Really? Does it just suddenly end and we've got a vacuum?
Yeah, that's my favourite too.
Very powerful argument.
Very. The guy who came to take a few dents out of that car about 6 months ago, he asked me what I did and I told him. And obviously he started quizzing me. And that was the first thing I went to. You just literally tip your head. I'm describing it in the most physical and literal way I can. You tip your head towards the sky and go, so that's a vacuum, is it? And they go, well, what do you mean? It's the sky. You go, yeah, a vacuum, a never-ending, expanding nothingness. And you just see the same reaction in everybody you say it to. They can't quite comprehend it for a few seconds. Then they scratch their head. And then they go, because what are you going to say? Yeah, we're breathing gas pressure and that sky is a vacuum. It's magic.
I have something to add on the subject of vacuum.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I was just thinking, I hear you guys talk about vacuum and in space in conjunction with the supposed atmosphere. And what helps me visualize this fiasco is when I think of vacuum pumps. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the vacuum pumps produce or tend to produce vacuum, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So if I have a vacuum pump, let's say, what's the biggest vacuum chamber that we know of? Probably NASA's, right? I don't know the location
definitely.
of it, but I remember you guys talked about it. So if we have a vacuum pump, which is really powerful, pumping out the gas, right, to whatever the torr negative 10 to the minus 6, I think,
Right.
is the best they can achieve. Now, what happens if we have the pump that is a million times stronger than what they have? This is what helps me visualize this whole. I mean, how much gas or anything would be left in the chamber? I mean, unless, of course, chamber will collapse on itself.
Yeah, none.
This is what helps me visualize.
Yeah, the pump is essentially taking away the gas to produce that void,
Right.
And what they're claiming the sky is that void. Well, we wouldn't have any gas.
Exactly.
The gas would fill that void instantaneously.
Yes.
Yeah, unless
So no matter
unless
how
a giant
much
pump
gas it
surrounded
would
the Earth
keep on
to,
adding to the.
create a vacuum.
Hold on, Arwen, it's
Sorry.
not quite done.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just agreeing, saying that no matter, even if you start adding gas, you'll be instantly sucked out by even existing pumps. So let alone supposed vacuum of space, which is essentially going to be millions and millions of times stronger vacuum pump.
Yeah, to achieve that sort of vacuum, even between us and the moon, it's supposed to be 10 to the minus 8. Well, that's like 2 orders of magnitude more. People need to comprehend how much more force you'd need to achieve that. And it's ludicrous.
Exactly.
So when you get up to the,
totally
what
ludicrous.
is it, 10 to the minus 17 torr, many orders of magnitude more, you're like, it's incomprehensible. There's essentially nothing there. It's the most vacuum of vacuum. And yeah, we've just got gases
and
just hanging around.
It keeps on pumping too, right? Because it's sort of an ever thirsty pump, right? You cannot turn it off. You cannot set sort of a degree as to how much atmosphere should pump out. I mean, it's just ever powerful, never ending pump that produces vacuum, a void in the model. I mean, there should have been nothing left in the first split second on the surface.
I mean, you conceptualize it with it being a pump. I like to conceptualize it with their little picture from the Voyager, you know, looking back with Jupiter in the relatively near foreground, and you just see the tiny little speck, maybe a couple of pixels or a couple of brush strokes, more likely, in the very far distance. And what's surrounding it in all directions, 99.9% of the rest of the picture, well, the vacuum of 10 to the minus 17 torr. And we're supposed to believe that little dot is magically holding on to gas pressure in the face of a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum. No.
It's crazy, yeah. And I mean, knowing this is so very logical, but it's so hard to get over this level of indoctrination that we all go through when we are children. I mean, I can sense it still in myself, kind of struggling with the concept, but it is so clear.
But a few key phrases help.
Over and over again.
A few key phrases help.
I'm sorry?
Words like, the sky is not a vacuum. I remember when I first said that, a few outraged fundies, nobody says the sky's a vacuum. Yeah, I'm saying it because that's your religion. You just don't like it phrased that way. Because outer space, everyone goes to the programming. Sky vacuum causes a bit of a cognition break. What do you mean sky vacuum? It's like, yeah, that's what your religion says, mate. Yeah, when it all goes dark and the twinkly lights, where are they supposed to be again? Space. So you're looking at the same place you were looking at where it was cloudy in the day, and that's supposed to be a vacuum. Same exact place. So sky vacuum. Oh, you don't like that terminology? Right. Yeah. I wouldn't like it either if it was my religion. Fortunately, it's not.
Yeah.
And they still like to deflect.
Agreed. And their favorite argument, so far as I heard, was always vacuum doesn't suck, which is kind of an oxymoron, really.
No, the gas would press in all directions. Pressure. The pressure is what we're asking about. How do you have gas pressure without a container? Because no, we're not talking about sucking vacuums. Quite the contrary. The only people I've actually heard that voiced by is globeheads. Now, normally, on occasion, they're saying, oh, well, flat earthers think that the sky or the space is like a vacuum because it's sucking. And they're just, it's like, no, that's just a false misrepresentation of what they claim we say. No, we ask how you can have gas pressure. That would be the gas pushing out in all directions, trying to piss off into the space available. That would be gas law. Well, why isn't it doing that with the special bleeding?
Even so, when they say it doesn't suck, they're wrong. They're flat out wrong. Because in all our sort of a linguistics, when we describe the suction or pressure equalization or whatnot, we always refer to as suction. Suction is just how we phrase it. And I would always think of vacuum as sucking, because that's what sucking is.
And you're right, colloquially, you're correct, but the actual mechanics of what's happening is the gas is pressing on in all directions, and any sort of disequilibrium between that and, well, it's much easier to explain to a globehead when you do it with much smaller numbers. So yesterday or day before yesterday with Highlander, it's if you've got 1 psi difference in your tyre, so 15 psi, 1 on the gauge, 15, 1 more than atmospheric pressure, then when you press the valve, the tyre pressure wants to reach an equilibrium with the pressure surrounding the tyre, i.e. the gas escapes to fill the volume available to it. Well, that's a tiny little difference, and it still wants to equalise. Yet, we're told that we've got a vacuum that's 10 to the minus 17 torr. Orders of magnitude more than we could ever achieve with 18-foot thick walls or whatever the hell they've got. So it doesn't take a genius to realise the sky can't possibly be a vacuum.
Honestly, yeah. And the example with the pump I gave you at the beginning kind of helped me sort of battle this cognitive blocks from childhood. visualize the ever powerful, never stopping vacuum pump sucking on the, and I use the word sucking explicitly, on the atmosphere. That helps me, and I hope people hearing this, maybe that will help them as well to understand how disastrous the notion is.
Fair enough. I know Arwen's been twitching to get in for ages. Go ahead, Arwen.
Me?
Yeah.
I have?
Yeah.
I'll twitch.
No,
twitching to get in for about
I
2
was gonna
hours.
say earlier, it just the moment passed a bit, but yes, ballers. Every time we bring up this point, some of them still desperately try to deflect off and say that gravity is doing all that, but it's so easy to point at that, but you don't even know what it is, how it's supposed to be doing that. It's just a rumor at this point. But a lot of them still fall back on that direction of argument.
Fair enough.
I
The
think
vacuum.
even if you give them gravity, the case still doesn't stand in terms of pressure equilibrium. It's just there's nothing.
That
The
all
gravity
depends
wouldn't even be
because
strong enough.
it's not really the problem is with gravity is that they really don't know what it really is. They
No, I
just
understand.
think they know what it is.
A conception cannot hold air pressure. The vacuum of space is begging the question. Until you can demonstrate gas pressure next to a vacuum, you're out of luck, Globers.
Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius?
There's very little value. There's very little value to be found in R.
What about a molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Any evidence of that?
That one's even cheaper.
Value and cheapness. I don't know if they're the same. Let's get into the semantics of this bollocks to distract away from the fact that there is no evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. No? Who's with me?
Well, once our 8 housekeeping questions get out there, NASA will put all their clothing line 70% off. So value and cheapness might come together.
Let's hope not.
Thank you for backing up my quality argument there.
I got your back, Armin.
The puns are getting contagious. That's concluded. That concluded the housekeeping. Thank you very much. Where
That
are
was
you
not
now?
a pun.
Where are you now, Adam? You there, Adam?
I think Adam was still at work.
Oh,
so-
okay. I won't try and get his attention.
Sorry, I've been slightly absent today, guys. I've been pissing off and co-workers and debating over here. So it's been fun.
Did you want to add something, Cypher?
The flat Earth revolution going on at work now, Chocolate?
Yep.
Has the management taken notice yet? Or are they in on it?
But my supervisor managers know I'm a flat earther. They hear me debating at work. They know. It's not a problem. I just piss off the other coworkers. Like I just pissed off somebody because I call Earth a magical spinning water ball, and he just looked at me. It's like get a kick out of it.
That'll do it.
So I missed a lot of the drama. I heard Alan on before, and I haven't been really paying much attention. So I apologize.
That's all right. Is Highlander still here?
I can't see him.
I don't see him either.
Okay. Interesting how Alan came as his wingman, and Highlander switched the roles. You called it great there.
The wiggling and squirming is quite amusing when it's people like that. But Paul did an excellent job, I thought, of leading him.
Excellent. Yeah, the information, that was great.
I'm just I'm really overall with all the baller guests that have been on over the years, we can say now. I'm just astounded how many ballers come onto the stage and then for such a long time, almost on a daily basis for months, keep on doing the same mistakes over and over again. Like it wouldn't be surprised to find somebody to do that, but just so many do it almost the same way. That has really baffled me more than anything.
Hold on a second, Owen. Cypher, did you want to add something? Because your mic's open, you're flashing away.
Can you hear me?
Only just. Maybe get a bit closer to your mic.
No.
Take him off mute. Just bear with me, guys. Try again, Cypher.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. G'day, what's happening?
Debating the nature of reality.
Cool. Well, I've got some questions about that and the whole, flat reality that you claim.
Knock yourself out.
What reality do you experience?
Well, from when I go down to the beach here at Shelley Beach in Port Macquarie, every morning the sun rises in front of me, slightly to the right a little bit. Now, from what I can tell, looking at all the flat maps that I've Googled, and I'm still wading through all the pages of them, I've been saving a few of them. I'm going to be building a little GIF thing, one that actually is slowed down to a 24-hour cycle day. I'll be overlaying some time, I've got a whole heap of the flat maps that I can find, some with time dates, some of the ones with the GIFs where the moon and the sun move around. So the problem I have is that the sun where it rises for me at Shelley Beach in Port Macquarie doesn't match where it's supposed to on any of the maps that I can find with the sun and moon moving around on them. Where the sun should be rising is 2,500 kilometers, I would say, from where I live.
What do you mean should be?
If it was a flat map, if it was a flat Earth, the sun. So you know the.
I've heard you claim. I've heard you claim. Do you want it addressing? Do you want it addressing or not? What do you mean by should be? When you say should be, it sounds like you're implying that what the map says dictates what reality is. It's called the fallacy of reification. The map is not the terrain. It matters not what the map says should happen.
But these are the flat Earth maps that I'm finding online.
Sorry,
Nathan.
that would
the
be
ones that you guys put out.
Sorry, that would be a.
As we keep saying.
Sorry, that would be a stereotyping fallacy. So have we offered up this map to you? Is this something that we argue or have given you, or are you just stereotyping us with others?
Flat Earthers have uploaded them to the internet.
So a stereotyping fallacy then. So we haven't offered it.
Okay, well then, can you provide me with something that I can use for the algorithm and the animations that I want to be building using real-time data?
No.
Oh, you want math? You want
Owen,
math?
Owen, what's going on?
I want something. I want something that
up.
I can use, yes, and put some numbers into a thing so that it will represent what happens during a day cycle. I'm then going to get some video from.
I'll try again.
I'm going to get some.
I'll try again.
Shelley Beach.
I'll try again. Maybe he'll shut up at some stage. Who knows? Represent? No, that's called reification. Please acknowledge what I've just said. It's the second time. Don't interrupt me. You haven't acknowledged it. I'm having to repeat myself. It does not represent our world. That would be called a reification fallacy. Do you understand?
I do. Yes, I do understand it, Nathan.
So why are you demanding that I give you anything for your reification of this map or model that you stereotype us with while you keep talking through me?
I'm not stereotyping anyone, Nathan, at all.
But why the little whiver in your voice then? Owen! Is that, I assume, Owen interrupting this discourse, of course. Owen, later when I ask you if you've got anything to add, there'll be a protracted silence. Stop interrupting. Mate, I don't have to give you jack. I can crap all over your model, though, the one you believe in if you're a globehead. Do you believe you're on a spinning sphere?
I know I am.
Oh, well, how would you demonstrate that?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, go on then. What's the best you've got?
Well, I need some information to do it.
What? To make your claim? No.
Well,
That's called...
you say I can't use
Shut
any
up!
of the flat maps that
Shut
flat
up!
earthers have uploaded
Shut up!
online.
Shut your
So
mouth.
that's instantly...
Shut up!
You can't...
Shut up!
Hang on, shut the fuck up, you dickhead! Shut the fuck up!
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
on the
been
show,
dealing
you
with this
stupid
shit...
idiot. So that's called a burden of proof reversal fallacy while he screams at me while I try and point out his fallacious reasoning. No, challenging me to prove what it is you're claiming is also fallacious reasoning. I'm not going to back your stupid claim that you live on a spinning sphere. You have to back it. It's your claim!
Online, put out there by you guys! So give me a...
Yeah, you need to calm down, mate.
Oh,
Chill
wow.
out. You need to relax.
Wow.
There's the man who goes the
sharing
fuck
his
off!
pain already.
Yeah, you need to relax, mate. It's your last warning. You going to relax?
The whole time, Nathan. I've come in here and I've tried to have a discussion with you. I've tried to say to you, look, the sun doesn't seem to be rising where I think it should be on the flat models, like the things that I can find online that have been uploaded by flat earthers themselves. Tell me what I can use to compare what I'm seeing against what you're claiming.
Come and paint my house. I demand it. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Sure, if I have to, I'll do that if you can get me a model.
In exchange for nothing.
No problem. I don't have a problem with that.
In exchange for nothing. Right?
Get me something that I can use.
Oh, so are you ever going to shut up? Yeah, once you finish talking, I expect you to shut your mouth thereafter. You demanding that I give you evidence to back your belief. Who the hell are you? I don't give a crap.
Is that not what you do every single day with your housekeeping questions? Is that not what
you're
exactly
talking
what
through
you're
every
after?
word I
So
say.
when someone says
mate,
to you,
you're using the
I'm
fundy
willing to
globe
do
head
some
mute
things,
button on me. I'm trying to
willing do some
respond to you.
observations.
Yeah, you can't do it. Assholes, this is why I've got to mute you. I'm trying to respond to him. He won't let me. He talks through me as soon as I start responding. I've allowed his nonsense to get asserted. I've pointed out where it's fallacious, and then he just talks through me. Yet you don't like that your reasoning being fallacious is being pointed out by me. I get it. It means that every time I attempt to point out your fallacious reasoning, your burden of proof reversal fallacy, your begging the question fallacy, your reification fallacy, you just talk through me. Yeah, I appreciate how troubling it is for you fundies when I point out your lapses in logic and say that no, I'm not going to prove your claim for you. That's your job.
Are we finished? Am I allowed to speak again?
Are you going to address any of the fallacies that I've pointed out you've used? First and foremost, reification.
No.
Don't live on a model. Don't talk the second I start summarising your demolition. Shut up!
Oh, demolition. Okay. Yep,
yes.
Continue.
First and foremost, no, the map does not represent the world, as you've said twice. He can't fucking help himself. Right, your last chance, Cypher. You can't seem to cope with me demolishing your religion. I've tried four times to...
Nathan,
you can't do it.
No, I'm asking how you...
Yeah, I'm not listening to you ask anything. I'm addressing what you've already said. You just won't let me. You're using the fundy globe head mute button the whole time.
You keep speaking
I've tried 5 now. I'm going to start counting them off.
That I'm saying here.
I'm going to start counting them off. I've addressed his logical fallacy of reification.
You're a coward.
Six times. 6 times he's interrupted me to stop me doing it.
That's 6 times he's interrupted me to stop the fallacy of reification reaching the audience. 6 times he's done it. We'll count him off.
Disgusting.
So
you know the Earth is a globe. We all know you know the Earth is a globe. And I'm wondering what the authorities are going to think of that.
So you've used the fallacy of...
authorities.
Can you shut up?
Yeah.
Are you
I'll pass it on.
G+, can you also shut up?
You know, all I can do is put in, you know, I can give them some evidence. I can give them the screenshot where you and Anthony Riley are talking amongst each other. I can only put in a complaint and have you investigated. I can't do anything other than that. But I think it is absolutely something that needs to be done.
My God. I'm never going to get I'm just letting him talk so you guys can laugh along, am I, guys in G+? He's talking aimlessly. I'm waiting to respond to a single word and then point out that so far I've made 7 attempts to point out that he's used the fallacy of reification. The map is not representative of where we live. The map is not the terrain. He has reified a false dichotomy of a map we do not represent in the form of the models he says other flat earthers have uploaded, and then got us to justify his false dichotomy by way of twofold reification. One in the form of his belief in a globe model, the other in the form of a flat earth model he says he can't get to work. And he's immediately talking through me again. So that's the 8th time he won't let me concisely summarise the fallacy, one of many, that he has yet to address, in this instance, reification. He has held up a reified model of a flat earth we do not represent, by way of a stereotyping fallacy, and he's interrupting me for the 9th time because he does not want this to come through. The fact that he's used fallacious reasoning with his absolute stone cold begging the question fallacy of a globe model, and a false dichotomy with a further reification by way of stereotyping fallacy in the form of a flat earth model. Now, I'd like you to actually address your fallacious reasoning rather than just shout and scream and lose your shit. Go.
So you would like an explanation as to why I would like something to compare against the observations that I plan on taking in the future to build some animations to see if they match up with what actually happens during the day here.
11th times I've told you. That doesn't represent our world. It's called a reification fallacy. Rather than actually addressing the fact.
No, so what does
he won't shut up.
The world, then? If
He won't shut up.
He
won't shut up. He's just reasserted the reification fallacy for about the 11th time. So what? You're not going to address the fact that the map is not the territory? What you represent in a model doesn't represent the world we live in? No. He'll reassert that he's using it to compare to the world. In other words, actually defining what a reification fallacy is as his rebuttal. No, that's what I'm charging you with. Don't just reassert it, you stupid moron. If you can't shut up while I'm talking, I'm going to have to remove you. You're clearly too triggered to have this conversation. You can't cope with me pointing out that you're using a reification fallacy. You just reassert the reification fallacy and then completely lose your shit as soon as I point it out, or interrupt me pointing it out like you're doing now. You know, I'm having to close down your line because I don't want to raise my voice. It's getting annoying. I appreciate this is very troubling for you, Cypher.
It's not at all, mate. It's not at all. I would just like a chance to ask, how do you get yourself around? If you haven't been to a place, how would you figure out how to get there?
Who cares? The map is not the terrain. It doesn't represent our world. Everyone in bloody G+, I'm really starting to lose my shit. Shut up!
Obviously.
No, I don't want you to carry on talking because they've interrupted me, you asshole. Oh, God, it's so difficult when my own fucking panel doesn't appreciate that their interruptions just spur him off to talk again. Yeah, I'm trying to point out that I keep highlighting the fact you've used logical fallacy, and every time I do, you completely lose your rag. Go off on one and then just reassert it again. And then ask us why we haven't given you some replacement for holding up in false dichotomy. None of this is getting addressed. You're just losing your shit. Last opportunity. If you can't shut up while I talk, or you carry on rambling after my own panel interrupt me, then I'll get rid of you, Cypher.
Go ahead. I don't give a fuck, because at this point I am talking to a small child with the brain.
Yeah, then piss off. Why are you even here then? Sod off. You can't cope with having a conversation where your own lapses in logic are pointed out to you. It's pathetic. You want to shout and scream at me and talk about some bloody authority that you're going to report me to. Report me to about a lighthouse clip that Cat Earth took. Oh, right, what are you going to do with that? Report the fact that if you put it through the begging the question calculator, it would say the light's not there. That's what would actually happen. Yeah? You morons don't appreciate what this lighthouse nonsense is all about. A light that we saw from the beach at St. Bees that shouldn't be there if you reify a globe model. Now, me pointing out to Anthony how they'd twist it into what I paraphrase as a perfect globe proof doesn't mean that putting a lighthouse through a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator with all of the fallacies that ensue when you do is ever going to be a proof of anything. Now, if some idiots out there in the audience want to take those text messages between me and a friendly sleeping warrior during a heated discussion about a claim that hadn't ever been published, then feel free. I'll be the arbiter of your globe religion. Hail Nathan! Proof of globe is here if you want it. Yeah, run the bloody lighthouse through the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator, and reify that model, because there's your globe proof if you want it. Oh yeah, that's top quality. your reification that I've gone round in circles, with Cypher the asshole about 6 times, pointing out that the map is not the terrain. It's the very definition of a reification fallacy, and him charging me with providing him with some sort of contrasting model that he can hold up in false dichotomy. Yeah, right! You morons have got no clue how to argue here and just go nuts when we absolutely crap on your fallacious reasoning. I'm done, G+. If you want to interrupt me now, I'm now not talking. Thank you.
I'll be the first to say I'm sorry, but I flipped when this guy said I'm going to the authorities. Like, really? We have another George on our hands? Really? Is that how pathetic you guys are?
Right. And
I'm sorry,
and
man.
you're
I
so
didn't mean to interrupt you. I lost my shit too. So, go ahead, Armin.
Sorry for interrupting you. But yeah, like, oh, you're just a child. You don't get it. But yet it's so dangerous that he's actually threatened enough to go to the authorities to report this dangerous child.
I love it. Keep getting triggered, guys. It's
Hey,
awesome.
Chocolate, what's the punishment for observing a lighthouse?
I don't know. Guess we're gonna have to ask the authorities, huh?
Super mega lumen?
Well, the punishment for saying it's
When
just
you
a
don't have
lighthouse.
an argument, run to authorities. That's their motto.
Yeah. You have annoyed me so much. That's what he's saying. I'm being him. You've annoyed me so much that you've challenged my religion when I blatantly know, I said it when I came in, it's a sphere and I know it, that I'm going to basically have everything off you that I can possibly take. I'll have your career, you know, I'll put you into poverty, rather than accepting that you've used fallacious reasoning in this case and affirming the consequent based on a begging the question. You know, that's all he can do is reify a model and affirm the consequent. Well, having that pointed out to you and losing your rag and saying I'm going to go to the authorities and point out that during a debate, let's call it what it is, an asshole took a screenshot of a personal message between me and Anthony where I point out to Anthony, having discussed it at length, whilst looking at a lighthouse that according to them shouldn't be there on their model, and Anthony desperately wants to put that out there because it shouldn't be there on their model, and I say, nah, they'll just start talking about how the light gets projected out. They'll claim it's a globe proof. Yeah? Somehow, assholes out there think that that is actually something they can cling dear to. What, Nathan Oakley suddenly proves globe? By stopping Anthony putting out a lighthouse that shouldn't be seen on their model, because I suspect that they'll be claiming that the Fresnel effect of the lens projects the light out. That's what this boils down to. That's your perfect globe proof, people. That's what Cat Earth's clinging to, and the idiots that go to that video. That's about 18 months old, I might add. It's not like this is some fresh new crap. That happened while we didn't even appreciate that the calculator begged the question and assumed an R value they've got no proof of, that they did it twice and assumed it in terrestrial refraction, 7/6 of that R value they've got no proof of. Yet, 18 months later, suddenly these idiots think they've got a perfect globe proof. What morons! But yet, based on that, this dick here is going to go to YouTube? They're technically my employer. Go to them and say this outrageous flat earther said that he could see a lighthouse, and if we put that through the model, it shouldn't be there. But we didn't get the chance to argue that the projection of the light would be seen above the curve because it's spread out with the Fresnel lens. Yeah, what crock of crap. Yeah, have the man's job.
Yeah, it's literally a George part 2. It's disgusting.
I was just saying in chat, was this guy George's nephew?
Like, again, what's wrong with you people? You disagree with flat earthers. Why are you here? Why are you paying attention? Is it because you feel that your paradigm is threatened? Could that be it? What's going on? Like I said yesterday, why are y'all not watching Star Wars somewhere, playing with lightsabers?
I'll tell you, because they're troubled
you
by
wanna
it.
You want to be in here threatening to go to the authorities? Do you know how pathetic that makes you guys sound?
Because they're troubled by it. They're troubled by it. They want to find a reason for it not to be true. In this case, the guy wants our model to fail, because when it does, he can say, my false dichotomy of globe versus flat earth model, both reified by me and stereotyped onto you, means that because the flat earth model doesn't work, it doesn't represent reality. and the other model does represent reality in my false dichotomy. Therefore, Earth's still a globe, I can sleep well at night. Most of them are here because they're deeply troubled by this. Do you think he's putting effort into trying to make flat Earth models work if he wasn't deeply disturbed by the notion he might have been lied to and wants to find a reason to not believe it? That's what he's doing. I need to find a false dichotomy here. Oh no, their model doesn't work. Till he gets here and we go, what model? What the bloody hell are you babbling about? We don't reify any models here, so you can hold them up in false dichotomy. Screw you. Oh no, rant, fucking idiots. You earn money, fuck. That's what we've got from these idiots. That's all they've got. An outrage that their model's being challenged. An outrage that their religion's being crapped all over. Oh well, not my problem. I don't have to give you jack. Come and paint my house. I offer you nothing in return. What's that you say? I've got to give you an alternative to the model that's dying? Nah, no we don't. We just buckle our pants back up after pooing all over it.
Nathan, would you mind presenting my screen, please?
Hey, Sleeping Warrior, good to have you. Yes, you're presented.
We're on, right. So, hey, Chocolate. So, given the context of what was just being said by our friend here, Cypher, that's just joined, he wanted to report you to the authorities for what exactly? I just wanted to highlight to Cypher and all the other ball earthers that think that you need to do this to support or to defend the notion that we live on a spinning ball that should be self-evident and stand up to scrutiny always. To the people that think it's okay to report folk, I trust he will apply his own standards and he will report this guy to the authorities for overtly lying. So I'm on the channel Blue Marble Science, and he's got a video that's entitled Gas Pressure Without a Container. Now, in this video, he has a gas pressure measuring device, but he's got a container connected to it. And obviously, that's where the gas pressure is created by virtue of this big, massive pipe that goes up the side of his house that gives him the pressure, because the pressure of the butane is caused by the container and the weight of the actual gas inside of it pushing down because of it's more dense than the environment it's in, but it has to be contained by the pipe for it to go into this thing and measure a reading. Now, given that it's called gas pressure without a container, and there's clearly a container in the video, I wonder whether Cypher would actually report this guy to the authorities for insert suitable slur to try and take away his living. Because if it's okay for Nathan, it must surely be okay for this guy who's lying to his audience. And we can see the proof. If you look in the video, in the comment underneath, this guy, Carl Edwards, whoever this guy is, he claims to have huge respect for people like himself that are overtly lying about the shape and nature of the earth that we live on. People who actually walk the walk. Yet this guy's presenting video evidence entitled Gas Pressure Without a Container, but he's got a container in the video. So I hope Cypher goes and reports this guy to the authorities, along with all the other numpties that lie about the shape of the earth and all the stuff that goes with it. Because if it's okay for Nathan, it must also be true for Blue Marble Science.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I think we need to report him to the authorities for attempting to break a natural law.
Yeah.
I think it's psychological, like Nathan said. They are so frightened that the globe is now real, and they just can't take the, you remember when Flat Earth first came out? Oh, these people, they don't think, they're stupid, just avoid them. Now look where it's gone. Well, we can't beat their 8 housekeeping questions. Now we got to call the authorities. What is going on here?
Tenth man, look, even their priests are getting agitated. Look, the video I just shared with you yesterday. Didn't Jesse Ventura ask him the same way Joe Rogan asked, why do you seem irritated by this? Why do you seem, like this is bothering you? Because it is, guys. It is bothering you guys, and it's hilarious.
Oh, if there's anyone that needs to be reported to the authorities, is Smoking Neil deGrasse for all of his lies.
And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, no, Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley channel, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!